In the previous screencast on securiCAD Enterprise, we created a project, uploaded the example model, and ran a first simulation. Now I would like to show you the suggested mitigations feature. Like before, we log into securiCAD Enterprise, we go to the Testing 01 project, and here we can see that under scenarios we have the initial simulation. So in the initial simulation over here we have a report icon which will show the report we have seen previously. When we scroll down we see that we have this list of suggested mitigations. The suggested mitigations here is a list of security improvements that securiCAD Enterprise have found to be relevant to our model and our architecture. So if we, for instance, open this patch service software category here, we see that securiCAD is suggesting that we patch the service software called SSHD with ID number 11 and also the RDP service with ID number 111. What securiCAD doesn't say is that we should patch all services in our model and in our architecture. Instead, these suggestions here are all based on the attack path that have been simulated. So what securiCAD is telling us is that if we would patch this RDP service, for instance, that would be an obstacle to the attacker. So let's just tick this one, the RDP service, and we tell securiCAD, okay, what if we patch this one? What difference would it be? And then we click on apply selected tunings, which will bring us to another page here. This is the tunings page, and a tuning is changed to the model or the parameters of different objects in the model, increasing or decreasing, for instance, a patch level like in this case. Here we can add our own changes or we can use the ones suggested by securiCAD like in this case. So we see that we have this patch RDP service as a suggestion. So we see that in the list of selected tunings here we have patch RDP service 111, and we can give it a new simulation name. So we say patch service 111, and then we click on simulate. Simulation is starting. We see that it says simulating here, and in a while we will have the simulation done. So now it's done. Now let's click on Testing 01 here to go back to the overview page of our project. Then we go down to scenarios and we unfold this one, and we see that we have a new simulation here called patch service 111 that we labeled it to. We also see that the total risk here was 8 out of 13 for the initial simulation, but for the patch service alternative we have a total risk of 6 out of 13. So something has changed. Then we can click on this report here for the second simulation. In the report overview figures at the top here we see that it says lowest time to compromise is 18 days. And it was 7 or 8 for the initial simulation. Since I don't quite remember the figures for the initial simulation, we can go to Testing 01 again and we can click on this compare function. Here we see a list of scenarios, and the scenario contains the simulations. We can select the simulations like this, and we can click on the compare. Here we see that we have two columns, one initial simulation and one patch service 111. So for our high value assets we have host here, stage SRV2 compromise, and we have the data store as well. So here we can compare the impact of patching the service 111 compared to the initial simulation. For the host high value asset here, stage SRV2, we see that the expected time to compromise went from 7 days to 18 days. We also see that the total probability of success for the attacker here went from 70% to 52% by applying patching on this RDP service. And the risk level classification of this host went from high to medium. Now, this example is a very simple one. So patching service 111 here is only about patching one particular service in our architecture. However, this second simulation here can actually be containing or representing a whole pack of mitigations and changes. This way we can select from the mitigations suggested by securiCAD, apply them, simulate them, and evaluate the impact of them. We can also let these simulations represent different design alternatives to our architecture, but we keep that for another screencast. Thank you for listening.